See the screen there, it's not on yet.
Screen's on.
Yeah, we're starting, streaming.
Day water ordinance.
Looks like it's good to me, but anybody got it on their phone or anything?
Yeah.
Stream says live.
I got it, shows offline.
I don't, I've got it here.
Okay.
Thanks, so.
This all looks like it's live.
Says we got 4 waiting.
Okay with it.
You got what?
4 people waiting.
Okay.
Except I realized I went counterclockwise, you're supposed to go clockwise when you do it.
You gotta go to horizontal split of contact.
No, it doesn't say that. It says just horizontal split. Horizontal split starts sending you live audio or video to YouTube.
Yeah, I got a white.
So that should be fine.
See
See if somebody's going in here.
I got it right.
It's not, Craig Snow says it's on. We're good.
Craig Snow says it's on.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, this is a special meeting that we called, and it's to introduce ordinance number 12 of 2020 for the town of Alexandria. This is an ordinance amending the district boundaries of the town of Alexandria Carnegie Bay Water District. And this is also to review and discuss and pass an interim agreement for the water connection to Carnegie Bay Water District. So where do we start, Bob, with the introduction of the ordinance?
Yes.
So, an ordinance amending the district boundaries of the town of Alexandria Carnegie Bay Water District. Do we wanna read this?
No.
So we need a motion.
You need an introduction in a second, and a motion for a public hearing, which is scheduled for next week. 2 weeks from now, excuse me.
2 weeks from now, and we're gonna do that on the 24th at
5:15.
5:15.
Okay. So you need a motion for introduction?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion for introduction.
Motion by Ron, need a second? Second by Sandy for the introduction. And the introduction is?
Now a motion for a public hearing.
Need a motion to schedule a public hearing.
I make a motion, we schedule a public hearing for June 24th at 5:15 PM.
I'll second that. Second by John Stein. Discussion? All those in favor of that motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None. So that public hearing date has been set for June 24th at 5:15 at the town office. The next item we have is the interim agreement for the water connection to the Carnegie Bay Water District.
That's my house.
Anybody have any questions?
It says June 8th, it should say June 10th. Ah, sorry. I'm sorry. The resolution at the top says it's resolution number 1 of June 8th, it should say June 10th.
Oh, okay.
So just to go over this a little bit, discussion that we've had, I've talked to most of the board members today about this. There's a hookup fee of $5,454, which is, the fee is inclusive of all district formation costs, including legal engineering and other town costs in connection with the water district approval and hookup, and of the town public works department hourly charges for inspections and supervision of installation and approval of the same. The contractor is responsible for the meter pit and for the piping and all the work that has to be done with that. Our water operator is responsible for inspecting the process. I believe that Jamie said the meter pit is in now. He's inspected it a couple times, and he's been down there looking and watching the work that's being done. He said everything is being done to town specifications at this stage. Have you any knowledge about any of What's going on, Rob?
Well, we were down there, I lose track of the days, but we were down there late last week and did a flow test. The health department, wanted verification of what the static and dynamic pressures were under certain conditions, because evidently there was, Claude Curley with the Department of Health had thought there were complaints of low pressure, which I had never heard before. So we went and we verified that the pressures were acceptable in that 45-pound range under static conditions. And then we did a hydrant flow test where we opened the hydrant down by Alex Moser's, and we ran it at 100 gallons a minute, and we ran it at 300 gallons a minute. And the pressure back at the tie-in point went down to maybe 39 or 37 PSI, which is acceptable. The health department was present when we did that flow test, and they were happy with it. So I'm not sure where this low pressure problem was. So at that being, and the issue also, the village still only has one tower available. So that probably impacted the pressure a little bit, but I can't say exactly how they're running the standpipes at the golf course. So all in all, the health department was satisfied. I wrote a letter to them. I think I copied you on it, Brent. We reviewed with the contractor that day where the meter pit needed to be located, and the fact that we wanted ductile iron pipe on the town side of the meter. After the meter's their responsibility, they were using PVC pipe, but it met health department standards, of course. So I think at that time we kind of settled all the details. And, they were waiting for the meter pit late last week, so probably in by now.
So they tested, is it at a meter or at a hydrant?
At a hydrant, right?
And then they opened the other hydrant up and see,
Correct.
it dropped 230, another dropped about 8 pounds or?
Yeah, I don't quote me on the.
But not much, and the health department's happy with it?
No, not at, there's only those 7 users beyond, you're never gonna see 300 gallons a minute, only under fire flow conditions. We opened it wide open out of a 2.5 inch, on one of the 2.5 inch connections. So we got all we could through a 2.5 inch hose connection on the fire hydrant in front of Alex's. So, it was totally acceptable.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions on the interim agreement? So we're gonna need a resolution to authorize me to sign the interim agreement.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Ron Thompson to allow the supervisor to sign the interim agreement, and seconded by Sandy. Any more discussion?
This is just to get them up and going
Yep.
now. Okay.
Yep. All those in favor?
It's a roll call vote.
Yeah,
says
you
it.
have to do.
I'm sorry,
Roll call.
it's roll call, I'm
Yep.
sorry.
So, I'm sorry, so you're really approving
That's this-
resolution
this-
number 1?
this document.
Just adding an amendment that you're gonna sign it, is that the idea?
I'm sorry, what?
What you're really doing is approving resolution number 1,
This-
but authorizing you to sign it on behalf of the town, correct?
Right.
That's Ronnie's motion to authorize.
Yeah.
The resolution, not
It's-
this part yet.
This is the interim. That's the final, this is the interim,
Yeah,
right?
that's-
We're having the public hearing for the final, and we're doing the interim tonight, that's my understanding anyway. Yeah.
Sorry. The public hearing is on the ordinance amending the district boundaries itself.
Oh, okay,
Until the district boundaries are changed, they really can't have a permanent hookup.
that's what this is for then.
So the purpose is to have an interim agreement, an approval of an interim agreement, so that they can hook up now. Because we received their application back in March, and with the whole COVID thing, we couldn't get, it was a
Yeah.
mess. Yet
Okay.
they need to proceed.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Town Supervisor Brent Sweet,
Yes.
Board Member Ron Thompson,
Yes.
Board Member John Stein,
Yes.
Board Member Mike Bass,
Yes.
and Board Member Sandra Scudo.
Yes.
So that's all we're doing, that's all we can do, we need a motion to adjourn the special meeting.
Well, hold up, we just, I don't know if we can act anything on it, I just wanna talk about Bull Castle for a second.
We can only talk about this, right?
You can talk about anything, but you just can't act, right? Or can't,
We didn't advertise.
Well, I hear your point on that.
can I just make people aware
Yes,
of that?
yeah, no action to be taken.
Right, okay, everybody okay with that? Okay if I read this?
Don't advantage, I guess.
Okay. This is from the Alexandria Bay Chamber of Commerce. It's addressed to Mr. Timothy Sturrock, Executive Director, Thousand Island Bridge Authority. Dear Mr. Sturrock and the Board of Directors, Alexandria Bay and its annual visitors are anxiously anticipating the reopening of Bolt Castle under the phased plan of New York State due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Alexandria Bay Chamber of Commerce respectfully urges the Thousand Islands Bridge Authority to commit to opening Bolt Castle on June 27th, 2020, or upon immediate approval by the state. Bolt Castle stands as the most successful and largest attraction in the area. As you are aware, the economic impact of Bolt Castle on Alexandria Bay and our county is immense, generating hundreds of jobs, filling hotel rooms, and injecting almost 200,000 visitors into the area each year. Our local businesses and associated taxing jurisdictions greatly benefit from these visitors and the economic activity the castle provides. Its postponed opening has already had a devastating effect on the local economy, and its timely reopening is imperative to the survival of the businesses we represent and the communities in which we live. The state's projected date for Phase 4 was originally June 26, 2020. This date has since been retracted, meaning the state could either postpone Phase 4 or open earlier than expected. With this uncertainty, we hope the castle is prepared to open at a moment's notice and without delay for all who benefit. The Alexandria Bay Chamber of Commerce stands with you in your commitment to the Thousand Islands region and is available to assist your organization in any way possible. Thank you for the consideration and your generous contributions to the Thousand Islands region throughout the years. Respectfully, Mary Campo, President. And it's copied into the following people who are members of the Bridge Authority Board: Bruce Armstrong, Chairman; Patrick Simpson, Vice Chairman; Micheline Dubé, Secretary Treasurer; Natalie Kinlock, Assistant Secretary Treasurer; Jacques Pigeon, Assistant Secretary Treasurer; Robert Storms, Assistant Secretary Treasurer. Those are all members of the TIBA. Philip Reed, Jefferson County Legislator; Craig Snow, Editor, Thousand Island Sun; Brent Sweet, Supervisor, Town of Alexandria; Stephen Jarvis, Mayor, Village of Alexandria Bay. So it's a matter of what I've talked about before. In order for everything to work, we need everything working together. We need restaurants with inside seating. We need boat rides. We need Bolt Castle. We need gift shops. We need all the different pieces going, and the castle's a big piece of that. And if you pull that out, things don't work. And we're getting the inside seating, hopefully. I don't know if the rules came out the other day, but without a date attached to them. But initially it was supposed to be Friday, so we're hoping that Friday we'll have 50% inside seating, social distancing. The castle, like a lot of things, doesn't have an easy cookie cutter category that it fits into. It's a unique, it's like Singer Castle, same idea. So the thought is Phase 4, which will be around the 27th, is what was hoped anyway. But there is a big question mark on that, in that when I talked to Mr. Sturrock, the Thousand Island Bridge Authority is going through unprecedented cash flow situation. I mean, all their passenger traffic, with the exception of critical people going to work on either side, are not allowed to cross. So they've got their commercial traffic, but they don't have their normal passenger cars going back and forth. So they're in a very tough spot there. I asked them the other day if the governor told him on June 22nd you can open on June 27th. Because unfortunately, what we have is, we have two things. We have the opportunity to open, and we have the ability to open. The opportunity to open is controlled by the governor. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, he tends to wait until the last minute and then says, yeah, you can go ahead and go. So I asked him, I said, if he tells you on the 22nd and gives you the opportunity to open, do you have the ability to open on the 27th? And he said, no, because their sewer plant is not up and running, their water plant is not up and running, they're not ready to go. And because there's a question mark. And so what I asked him was, you know, if Bolt Castle's not gonna be open this year, then we all need to know about it, because that will be a big factor on what people, how they plan their summer business-wise. He said, nobody is talking about Bolt Castle not opening. I said, well, great. I said, so follow me on this. At some point in time, Bolt Castle will be open. So at some point in time, the water plant and the sewer plant will be up and running. And the money to enable that to happen will be spent. So what I asked him to do, and to ask the board members, is to bring these people back, get the water and sewer plants running, and then if the governor says, no, it's going to be another 2 weeks, put those people back on unemployment, okay, and then you haven't wasted a nickel. It's going to cost X amount of dollars to get the castle ready to roll. And instead of spending it later as opposed to now, okay, that's what I'm at, spend the money now, not later. Because what will happen when I talk to them, it would probably be, what would happen is we'd have the ability to open the castle on the 27th of June, but it might be the 4th of July or the 3rd of July or the 10th of July. So then what you have is you have a situation where you can open Bolt Castle, but Bolt Castle's not ready to open. And so what I'm urging Mr. Simpson and Mr. Armstrong, those are the two people on the board that I know, is to authorize Mr. Sturrock, who's the executive director that took Mr. Horace's place, to spend the money now versus spending it later, so that you have the ability to react. Because otherwise, you go, oh, okay, let's get started, and the castle will be closed even though it could be open. And so what you've got is you've got the damage that's already been done through no fault of anybody that lives around here will actually be worse than it needs to be. And that's what we're trying to get people to do, is to come on board. I know we can't act on this tonight, but the village endorsed this letter last night. And what I am personally asking is for people to get a hold of Mr. Simpson, get a hold of Bruce Armstrong, also Mr. Robert Storms, who I believe lives around the Adams area. There's usually 7 members of the TIBA, and there's a vacancy right now. There's 4 U.S. members and 3 Canadian members. The 3 Canadian members are all employees of the Federal Bridge Corporation, which is basically the Crown Corporation that runs a series of bridges, not all the ones, but a series of the bridges in this area for the government of Canada, because they're Crown corporations like our equivalent of the federal level sort of thing. We've got 2 weeks left before the 27th, 2 work weeks. And if they hold off another week, we can kiss off the 27th of June, right through the 4th of July weekend. The other problem is Murphy's Law. This sewer plant's been laid up for the winter. The water plant's been laid up for the winter. The old saying, stuff happens. And to be fair to the maintenance guys that are in charge of energizing all this, they need time to do that and fix surprises and stuff. I think I speak for everyone in the Chamber of Commerce when you talk about the different gears that make the economy go up here. Bolt Castle is a critical gear to it, whether you're in the motel business, restaurant business. I mean, when people call, and I talked to Pat Simpson about this, he told his fellow board members that people, when they call, is the castle open? And then when they hear the castle's not open, well, we'll come back when it does open. So they don't stay overnight in Pat's. They don't walk across the street to go to the dockside to get something to eat. They don't go in one of the local gift shops to get something to take home. all this stuff falls apart. It's critical that the bridge spend money that they're gonna spend anyway. Because I realize they're trying to be as frugal as they possibly can, given the constraints they've got with the border being closed. But this is not wasted money. The only way it would be wasted money is if the castle wasn't going to open. If it wasn't going to open, then energizing that and then decommissioning it would be a waste of money. I've been assured by Mr. Sturrock and Mr. Simpson that Bolt Castle will be opening. So what I do is I urge everyone to please, if there's anybody, I think everybody's got a copy of this letter. If you know anybody on there, if you know Mr. Storms, if you know Mr. Armstrong, if you know Mr. Simpson, please contact them. They need to make a decision in the next 2 days, because the castle work week is Sunday through Saturday. So if these gentlemen and ladies, if they're gonna be coming back to work, they need a little bit of a heads up that they're gonna be, I'm sure they're ready to go, because normally they'd be working. We're talking about people with year-round jobs. These aren't seasonal people that are laid off. These are year-round people that have, in the past, never been laid off, but we're going through unprecedented times. The other thing which we're looking at is the governor, because you can be all ready to go and we still have to get the blessings from the second floor in Albany. So with that in mind, there could be a phased approach to Bolt Castle, which basically means you get off the island onto a dock, go up onto the island, walk around, and you can't go into any of the buildings. And I brought this up at a TI council meeting about 2 weeks ago. One of the other members of the TI council is a lady by the name of Peyton Taylor, and she's in charge of all the state parks for the Thousand Islands region, which is a big region. It goes out, I think, all the way to Plattsburgh and down into Oswego County. And she said that there are a lot of people on some of the attractions they have that they're perfectly okay with just not going inside these buildings and stuff, looking at stuff from the outside. And it's crazy, we live here, and as crazy as it sounds, when you get off a boat, onto a dock, walk on to an island, okay, it's the same dirt, it's the same granite that you left when you parked your car. But getting onto an island to people that aren't from around here is a big deal. It's because what we do is we sell an experience. We're not selling a car that they take home and park in the driveway. What we sell is an experience they take home in their head. They enjoy themselves, they unwind, they relax, and they take that home with them. So going onto an island, walking around the castle, and possibly maybe for the first 2 weeks, not being allowed to go into the castle, that's still a positive thing. And when I brought that up with Mr. Sturrock, he said, well, it wouldn't be fair to charge them $10, you know, and not get the whole Bolt Castle experience. I said, I agree with it, charge them $5. So for $5, you get off, go walk around the island. It's a 5-acre island. And the other thing that's nice about that is when you deal with the public, we all know that there's that 1%. So you've got some idiot that doesn't want to wear a mask and everything else. The public will have the ability to social distance themselves. If you've got somebody that's acting like a jerk on the island, we're not going to allow anyone on a boat without a mask. They're allowed to take it off once they're seated, same as in a restaurant. But if you're getting up and around, you have to have a mask on. If there's a problem on Hard Island, and I'm over there with my family, I can social distance myself because I can walk over here, I can walk over there. So there can be a safe environment on the island. I know I'm going on and on in this, but I can't overstate how important it is for Bolt Castle. It's easy for me because I'm in the restaurant business, I'm in the hotel business, I'm in the boat line business, and all those things benefit. But guess what? I'm not the only one. And it is a key to Clayton, it's a key to Alexandria Bay, the town of Alexandria, the town of Orleans, the town of Clayton. This is a very broad region. It goes a lot farther away than that. So after this whole spiel, I just urge everyone to, if you know Mr. Storms, please call him and encourage him to spend the money now versus later. And let's get this thing ready so that when they get the green light, they can flip the switch. They can't do that right now. It's not ready to go. But they need the ability to do that. And at that, I'll shut up. And it's not even beer. How's that?
The only other thing I have here is that everybody's got the balance sheet for the town of Alexandria for up to May 31st, 2020, you've got the profit and loss for just May, and you have the profit and loss for January through May that I put in front of everybody that they could take with them. The other thing that everybody has in front of them is the minutes for multiple meetings that have all been completed and that are here, for you to read, because we'd like to get these things approved and get them on our website, at our June 24th meeting, if we could do that. So I need you to look at those. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else. I think we're gonna try to schedule another special meeting for next Wednesday. We have 3 or 4 different things that we're talking about put on the agenda. If somebody knows of something special that we need to put on this agenda for next Wednesday, get a hold of me tomorrow morning, because we're gonna be working on the advertisement and what we're gonna do. I have a couple things of a, department that needs to hire somebody and a few things like that, that we're gonna be wanting to do next week.
On the minutes, there's a couple of times where it said Councilman Sandy Caputo.
Oh, okay,
Councilman.
okay.
And then later in the same minutes, it said Councilwoman.
Okay, yeah, I'll check that out.
And I Googled it, I don't like the councilwoman.
Oh, you don't, you want Councilman? All right,
Cause
perfect.
nowhere do you see
Okay.
where I Googled it,
I was
do you
just
ever see
seeing.
councilwoman?
Okay.
It's a council member.
Council person,
No
or
problem, I'll get that checked out.
members,
Yeah,
council
Joe.
members?
Member.
Yeah, we're all
Just-
members.
If there is a preference, I
Yeah.
don't think that's right.
Okay, yeah, no
Council
problem.
member?
Yep, I'll change it.
That
Yeah,
works.
yeah,
I've been called worse.
yeah. No worries, I can get that adjusted, yeah.
Especially since you became a council person.
Yes.
So, anybody else got anything else? I also have the IMAs, 62 pages long, and, I'll send an electronic copy. If you want a paper copy, tell me. That was one of the things, actually. That's the other thing that we talked about
It
doing
was
next
on my
Wednesday.
list and I forgot, but I knew there was 2 things.
I knew there was something important for next Wednesday, is these IMAs.
Right.
They need to be, looked at, edited, and approved, because they are tied to Carnegie Bay also, as of last night, right?
And there's what, 5 there, I think?
5 here,
Okay,
yep,
so that'll be on the agenda also, so we can take action?
yes,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
So anybody else have anything else? If not, we'll need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Sandy to adjourn, second by Mike Fayette. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, end the meeting.
Oh, right, come out.
Yeah, not yet. I gotta go turn the microphone